Some info: my wife passed away in January 2019 after fighting cancer for years. Over a year after that, I, 33, male, started a relationship with a close friend I've known for years. My girlfriend and I are about a year and 7 months into our relationship. It was unexpected, but things blossomed between us, so I gave it a chance. My parents knew about our relationship, as did some friends. A few weeks ago, we started sharing the news that we are expecting our first child since she's now in her second trimester. My sister, 26, was home from college when we made the announcement after we got together at our parents' place. She was openly against the whole thing right away, asking, "How could I do this to my wife? Didn't I care about her?" She even said she's so disgusted to be related to a brother like me who would cheat on his sick wife, stuff that didn't happen. Then she asked us how our kids would feel when they find out they're an affair child. My dad got furious at her and told her to leave if she couldn't act civil, so she did. It was super unsettling for me, but I thought it was probably from shock. After that, she hasn't stopped telling me things, mostly how shameful she feels to have a brother who would make a new life with someone else after losing his wife. The timeline was explained to her before, that we started our relationship well over a year after, so in no way was it ever an affair. I gave her a couple of weeks to cool down, then decided to send a message to ask if we could talk. She says she doesn't associate with cheating pigs. Since I've been helping her for the past 2 years to pay for her college course so she can be a full-time student working part-time, rather than the other way around, I told her she probably doesn't want to be associated with the money of a cheating pig. That's where it seems I'm an idiot because it affects my sister's education over petty words, at least according to my mom. Even my sister says I'm beyond low because now I'm trying to punish her for speaking the truth, knowing how much this would set her back if she can't pay for her classes on her own. This means she'd need a full-time job again, making it take longer to complete her BA. But if she's uncomfortable with being associated with me, why pay for her? At least that's how I see it, but maybe it's just the anger talking. Am I the idiot? Your other sister says I'm trying to punish her for speaking the truth. Yeah, no. That's not what you're doing. You're declining to continue your generosity to a person falsely accusing you of committing adultery. Not the idiot. Let her pay for her education, and by all means, keep her away from your girlfriend. Being pregnant is stressful enough, but having a family member say such cruel things must take a toll. You are absolutely right. She shouldn't use the so-called dirty money. 26 years old and still not earning? Isn't it kind of embarrassing for her? Maybe she should invest the time in falsely accusing you to find a job. First of all, you didn't do anything she's accusing you of. Second, it's none of her damn business. Do not give anything to her until she gives you a heartfelt apology. That too, only if you care too much about her. When my parents died, I found out that people dictate grief in weird ways. For example, here is what I would do. Well, it isn't you. Your sister is immature at best. What she said is damn near unforgivable to me. Then, to get mad that she can't insult you and still get the money? I'd expect that behavior from a teenager, not a woman closer to 30. She isn't entitled to college and should pay for it herself. She's 26. If she's dumb enough to bite the hand that feeds her, maybe she isn't fit for college anyways, and dumb enough to think that a current pregnancy indicates an affair during the time OP's wife was dying. You, in no way, are obliged to help her out, especially after the hurtful things she said about your newer relationship. But I'd be concerned about what your sister might say to her niece or nephew down the road. In my opinion, sister must humbly apologize and promise she'll never bring up the subject again or get cut off. And while your mother might be on her side now, I bet once her grandchild is born, she'll be taken up by that, and your sister will need to recede in importance. My husband, 27, has been planning a trip for about 4 years with some close friends. Unfortunately, the trip kept being postponed due to some of his friends having family deaths, financial issues, and unfortunate world events. My husband's finally going to be able to leave within 2 months. The issue I, 21, have is that I'm pregnant, and he's leaving me near my due date. This is my first child, and I don't want to go through childbirth alone. I don't have family other than my husband. My dad's dead, and my mom is mentally ill, so I want his support throughout the process. But he's making me feel really bad for asking him to postpone the trip so he can be here for his daughter and me. He told me that it's honestly not that big of a deal. He said that when he was at the hospital for his son from a previous relationship, the birth only took an hour and that the nurse was very supportive. I also don't want to care for his son after I come home from the hospital alone. He plans on being away for a month and has sole custody. His son goes to his mom's every other weekend, but that's all. Sometimes his mom won't even show up. He hasn't made any plans on where his son will go after I come home from the hospital. His sister agreed to take him while I'm in the hospital, but she can't do it any longer as she has a full-time job and doesn't want to take too much time off work. He told me I'd be able to handle everything by myself and begged me to drop the issue because he'd been planning this for so long and he's excited to go. He even offered to pay me for all the hardships and told me women take care of children after coming home from the hospital all the time. I understand that this wasn't exactly planned, and I feel awful about the whole situation. A huge part of me wants to drop the issue and find a way to deal with everything alone. I mean, his friends are calling me a wet blanket. I don't want to be a wet blanket and spoil everyone's fun. Am I the idiot here? Not the idiot. He's going to be away for a month when he has sole custody of his son, right near your due date. This guy is seriously messed up. Even if you have the most effortless delivery ever, and to help you deserve to have your husband, the father of your child, supporting you. You will need someone at home to take care of things as you adjust to taking care of your child. And I know no one likes to think about this, but if something goes wrong, he needs to be there. Good luck, OP. I hope you find the support you deserve. OP could die or need an emergency C-section. Aren't like half of all births C-sections? Just because an ex had a 1-hour easy-peasy birth doesn't mean that's the rule. This man seriously discounts the amount of work and risk that goes into labor. Something tells me he wouldn't be any help even if he didn't go. He's probably the kind of guy who has no idea where anything is in the house, how to cook, what day is trash day, what his first kid's allergies are, how to manage a newborn while your partner showers, etc. So let's just cut to the chase and hire some help, huh? I also don't believe his son came in an hour. I would bet money dude is just telling on himself and he was only there for 1 hour of the labor. So his friends can cancel the trip due to their issues. But you having a baby and being upset about him going away for a month makes you a wet blanket? It takes 2 to make a baby, and it shouldn't be your responsibility to take care of it. Aside from all this, he's perfectly happy to miss the birth of his child. Is he avoiding this because he's not ready, or is he just that selfish? Why are you with him? He expects you to give birth alone and then take care of his son after you give birth. Trash. He's genuinely the worst. Is no one questioning that you're 21 and he's 27 and you've been together for 3 years? OP, run. I'm a 36-year-old male, child-free. I have 2 sisters, Lisa and Annie. Lisa has 2 boys, Austin, tween, and Max, tween. And Annie has Kevin, preteens, and Leela, toddler, female. They both struggle financially a little, and I have a good job, so this year I offered to take my nephews on vacation with me. My niece is so young, so I don't feel comfortable being alone with her at all, and Annie gets that. I told my sisters to bring the boys to my apartment for a weekend to see if they'll get along and if I'm up for taking them to Seaside with me for 14 days. The boys came, and at first we had a great time. I ordered us pizza, we watched a movie, played soccer, etc. The next morning, I woke them up and gave them cereal. Kevin threw it on the floor and said, "I have waffles on the weekend." I told him he couldn't have waffles for breakfast today, but we could make them for dinner or breakfast the next day. He said he doesn't like cereal. I told him he could just have toast with peanut butter or fruit. He yelled at me for not making his waffles. That day, he also cut up my shirt because I didn't let him have cookies for lunch and told me I sucked for telling him to eat his veggies before I gave him ice cream. He was a nightmare. Max and Austin behaved great. When my sisters came to pick them up, I told Annie what happened, and she said, "Oh, he's just high-spirited." I told her I wasn't taking him on vacation. I also told Lisa I'd be glad to take her boys with me, and they were super excited. My parents and some aunts have been biting my head off for treating the kids differently and denying a boy the chance to go to Seaside just because he misbehaved once. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. I weep for Kevin's future. Did the parents and aunts get the whole story or just your sister's side? Tell them to take Kevin on vacation instead. I'll be waiting with my popcorn. Not the idiot. That's not just misbehaving once. That would be a warning of a nightmarish 2 weeks if you took him. She probably wants the break, but damn, if my kids were like that, I'd have sent a warning and instructions on handling that nonsense. Of course, you don't let people find that out once they're stuck. As a responsible parent, the correct answer is, "Thanks for letting me know what happened. We will have a talk at home." Agree. I'm the granny everyone loves and wants to be with. But if you misbehave with me, it's right back to your mama, and I'll see you in passing. Raise your kids, and you get to spoil your grandkids. Spoil your kids, and you get to raise your grandkids. Going with you is a privilege, not a right. If he's behaving this way and your sister thinks that's normal behavior, how will you keep up with him while you're far away from his parent? Because you can best believe that the next words out of his mouth would be, "You're not my mom, I don't have to listen to you." It will be a nightmare, and someone could get hurt. I'm a 40-year-old male and have a father, 62, who likes to live a very simple and secluded life. After my mom had an affair and divorced him to run away with a younger man, he's been very closed off. When we were a year into the global issue, he asked me if he could build a small building on the back of my property and live in it. I bought the property my grandparents owned, and there are 6 acres with some trees. You can't even see where my dad built his little cabin. It's just a modified Home Depot shed he's made into his little house. He's got power via a line run from my house, but also keeps a generator for when he needs it. His little building only has the basic necessities, and above all, it's quiet. He spends his spare time there reading or watching DVDs when he's not out working. He drives trucks for a living, and my mom took a chunk of his retirement when they divorced, so he's decided to live a minimalist life in a quiet place. He has a wood stove he uses for heat, keeps food cold in a small fridge, and cooks everything with a microwave or propane. He's built his own composting toilet and gets his water from a hose line that comes directly from our well. He's got a cell phone that works fine down there as well, so he's not entirely off the grid. I leave him alone 90% of the time because it's that peace that he treasures now. However, other members of my family don't like how he's living and are calling me an enabler, but he's happy the way he's living now. My sister and aunt are both pressuring me to get him to come back to civilization, but he's just deep in my backyard. My kids don't even bother him without permission. There's no drama between us. He comes over for dinner regularly and loves spending time with his grandchildren, but when he's alone in that cabin, that's exactly how he wants it to stay. So we don't bother him there. But my sister, aunt, and a few others keep pressuring Dad to move in with one of them or get himself an apartment. They're all city people and refer to his way of life as unclean, but he keeps himself and his home very clean and does his laundry regularly. My relatives can't come up with a valid excuse for why they want him out of his cabin, but they won't let it go either. So I've refused to be in the middle of this, and they say what I'm doing is slowly hurting him, but he seems healthier than ever, so I don't believe them for a second. But the pressure is getting to me because they keep saying I'm just waiting for him to die alone. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Your dad's happy and healthy. They can butt out. A firm, leave it alone from you and your dad should, in theory, get them to back off. And if it doesn't, at least for you, you can nope out of any conversations where they bring it up. They'll eventually get the hint, hopefully. There's a man who yodels every time his mother brings up them having a baby, so you should practice yodeling whenever they bring up your father's living arrangement. OP, you're supporting your dad. He's happy, healthy, and safe. Inform these family members that your dad has the right to live his life in any way he sees fit. He interacts when he wants to, and your children are being more respectful than your other family members. Maybe not have them around so often if they cannot accept your dad is happy. I'm a 24-year-old female, and I am in a situation where I truly don't think I'm an idiot, but many people are telling me I am. A week ago, my water broke while my husband was at work. I tried to call him, but he had his phone on Do Not Disturb and ignored any phone calls while he was at work. I didn't have anyone to call besides my brother-in-law, Mark, 31. My in-laws live nearly an hour away, and my parents live out of state. Mark only lives 10 minutes away. However, I was hesitant to call Mark because he and my husband aren't on good terms. Mark had ruined previous relationships of my husband by sleeping with his ex-wife. When I got to the hospital, Mark stayed with me until my husband came after many texts and calls from different family members trying to notify him. When my husband came, he was angry and caused a scene because Mark was there and made him leave. He accused me of having an affair, lying to him, and more. Everything was so stressful that I kicked him out of the room. I'm currently staying at my parents' place because I don't want to be around my husband after what he did. I'm getting texts and calls from my husband's family, calling me an idiot for not letting him see the baby and for kicking him out of the delivery room. That isn't true because I gave him a chance to come over, but the only way he wants to see the baby is if we come back. Am I the idiot? So, you were ready to pop, and your husband kept his phone on Do Not Disturb at work? How exactly did he expect to be there for the birth? In any case, how did he expect you to have a way to the hospital if he's not going to take calls for 8 hours a day? I just can't understand how this happened. Like, did you all not talk about this in the lead-up? Did you both think the baby would be polite and come after work hours? Not the idiot. He ignored you and other family members trying to contact him, then dared to scream and shout and make a scene, accusing you, and he won't come and see the baby? OP, no way. Nope, nah. No, sir. Mark was your hero while your idiot of a husband had his phone set not to take phone calls at work, knowing your water could break. Who does that? I know who. Someone who expects the world to revolve around him. I suspect it wasn't brother-in-law who ruined those relationships. This is Exhibit A that your idiot husband did. I can see why the exes possibly went for Mark instead of the trash husband. LOL. OP. I guess your brother-in-law's a decent guy, and your husband ruined his previous relationships with unfounded jealousy and lack of care for his partners. In my opinion, make it ex-husband, not the idiot. I'm sorry, OP, but he put his hatred for his brother over your health and the health of your child. As a result, he no longer has any claims to seeing the baby being born. He's now using your child as a bargaining chip to try and get you to come home. If he only wants to be involved if you do exactly what he says, you and your child need to run. You and your child deserve better. Thank you.